Hello and welcome to the official Man City podcast. I'm your host, Rob Pollard, and on this episode, we are going to be hearing from the Man City chairman, Khaldoon Al Mubarak. Khaldoon sits down at the end of every season with editor-in-chief Chris Bailey, and it's one of the interviews I look forward to the most. Chris Bailey doesn't pull any punches with his questions, and Khaldoon never shirks an issue. And the chairman speaks with such clarity and passion, I always come away feeling really enthused about the season to come. So we thought it'd be a good idea to put the full interview in podcast form. So here it is, the Chairman's Interview 2020.
Chairman, thanks for joining us. One of the more complicated interviews that we've done, but I'm sure we'll get through it. I'm sure we'll have as much as fun as we normally do. It's great to see you anyway, even from this distance. Can we start with an overview of the season? How would you assess the season on the pitch? Was the Carabao Cup enough of a return for you?
Well, Chris, it's been a very long season. We started last August. It's been a year. Over the years, we've had many ups and downs and many challenging seasons, but I think like this one is unique in its nature. Starting first with winning the Community Shield, then the number of very important injuries that we've had to deal with. Then you talk about dealing with the UEFA situation, very challenging situation that the club had to deal with throughout the season. We've had some management changes mid-year, which were disruptive. And then we've had COVID, unprecedented in the nature of that challenge. And then the period where we had to stop and then come back and then restart. When I look back in terms of results now, are the results satisfying? The answer is, of course, not. I mean, we always look for finishing the season with success in as many competitions as possible. The Premier League obviously being the primary one, but of course also the Champions League and of course both cup competitions. Winning the Carabao Cup, in addition to the Community Shield that we started with, is I think very good. Making it to the semi-finals of the FA Cup, okay, but not good enough. And now to the two big ones. First, the Premier League, no doubt. Second is not what we look for. We always like to win the competition. That is our objective. That is our target every year. And we came short. I think credit to the champions. They are well-deserved champions. But from our perspective, finishing second and finishing with the number of points between us is not something that will satisfy us and of course will make us hungrier. And in the Champions League, again, our objective is to win that competition. It's very simple. And that is what we try to do every year. So I think overall, given everything I've described and given the nature of the season, the challenges across the board, which is, by the way, most teams have faced, or if not all teams have faced challenges. I think for us, it leaves us with some disappointment, but also a lot of positives to build on.
Pep, in an interview not long ago, said, and I think I'm quoting here, "The chairman isn't happy with me over the results in the Champions League." One, is that correct? And two, how do you explain not getting past the quarterfinals in 4 tries?
Me and Pep have something very important in common. We both hate losing. And don't take it lightly. And I think on this, both of us share the same level of disappointment. We had a great opportunity this year, and the same as the last couple of years. I think when it comes to the Champions League, in a cup competition, it's always challenging because you're playing these at these stages, quarterfinals. Round of 16, and it boils down to 2 games, and in this case, it boiled down to 1 game, given the nature of the Champions League this year. And you have to deliver. And unfortunately, this year we missed it. We're equally upset with that result because we knew this was a great opportunity for us to go to the semifinals and a great opportunity this past season, to actually win this competition. And we have to be able to look back at that experience, take the learnings, go back to the drawing board, and make sure we're ready next year to give it another shot, and go on and try to win it.
I was going to say there's no danger that the quest to win in Europe becomes something of an all-encompassing quest to the detriment of other competitions. The priorities will lie in the same places this season.
Absolutely. I think that we've been very consistent on that, Chris. The domestic league comes first. That is the foundation for everything. The success in winning the Premier League is what breeds success in every other competition. So that is always going to be the foundation. And we've been, I think, very successful in the domestic cup competitions. We have not been able yet to crack the Champions League, but we'll crack it. We will crack it. We'll find a way, and I have the highest confidence really in everyone in our club, and our ability to learn and continue to improve.
I know you don't like talking about individuals too much, but how much pleasure did the emergence of Phil Foden give you as a regular starter this season?
You know, Chris, with Phil, it's always special for me because I remember very well back in probably 2010. I was at the academy, and I was speaking to Brian Marwood back then. I was asking him about the talent. I always like to know about how the academy is doing and how the different age groups doing, and where is the talent and who to look out for. So I remember distinctly this conversation with Brian, and he pointed out a player. He was 9 years old back then, from Stockport, Phil Foden. And he pointed it out to me. We had a nice discussion, and then that's it. It stayed in my head, and I remember over the years, whenever I'm in the academy, whenever I'm always asking the question, how's he doing? How's he developing? Brian had a very clear, almost prophetic view of how Phil was going to evolve and what he was going to become over the years, given the talent that he saw, and watching it actually play out, over the last almost 10 years is very fulfilling. And certainly I'm very proud of what Phil has accomplished so far. Many coaches have helped him through this journey. Brian, of course, in the beginning, and Cheeky on the football direction side, but most importantly on the coaching side. And now, over the last couple of years, under the stewardship of Pep, he has really blossomed. It's very promising. I think we have a very special player here, and more importantly, he's got the right mentality. And I think this is what's going to make him, hopefully, what we all expect him to be, a very important player for this club.
Before we leave the football side of it per se, I mean, we touched on this before in conversation, and finally, last weekend, in the wake of the disappointment of the Champions League, it was great to see Kevin De Bruyne become Premier League Player of the Season. It was lost a little bit in the noise of the Lyon game, but how much of a leader for the team has he become, and how pleased were you for Kevin that he got that individual award?
I was very pleased, Chris. Very, very pleased, because it is so well deserved. It was a combination of being pleased but also relieved. I was worried because we've seen it in the past, unfortunately, with some of the City players, them being overlooked for this very important award. And I was worried that Kevin would be overlooked this year, and because he, in my view, it was unquestionable. My vote was clear. Obviously, it's subjective given who he plays for, but Kevin is the best player in the league this year. He's become an important leader of this group. He is really the future of Manchester City.
I guess leaders in football, as in business, come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, don't they? There are, there's some inspired by the way they do, some inspired by what they say. I mean, Kevin's quite a shy and quite a quiet lad, but I guess he leads by example. Is that how you see him?
Absolutely. He's what you see on the pitch. The work ethic, the discipline, the hard work, and then the quality. Everything you see on the pitch is Kevin. But at the same time, he's understated. He's a leader, and all the players look up to him and see him as that. So I think we're very lucky to have Kevin.
The transfer window is a bit different this year, and we've already done 2 pieces of business in Ake and Torres. Has the pandemic caused a rethink on how much business we'll do this summer?
I mean, you have to take that into consideration, and that's part of that sensibility that we have approach that we have to take. But at the same time, my comment and my position is clear. We don't take a 1-year view. We take a 3, 5, 10-year view. And when you look at what changes or improvements we have to make to the squad, we're going to make them. When it comes to the 2 acquisitions we've made, Ake and Ferran Torres, we moved quickly. Clearly, these were our targets. And when the opportunity came, we were able to come in very quickly and swiftly and do that business. There are additional players that we will be bringing in, and we will stick to the plan within the realities of the market that we live in today.
I mean, that's interesting news for the fans that there'll be more people coming in. But is it a rebuild or is it a recalibration of the squad?
I don't like to use these words. At the end of the day, every year we will see ultimately what the manager needs. The work of the summer doesn't start now. We've been working for months in terms of clearly identifying the areas of weakness, the areas that we need to improve and strengthen. And that's an iterative process.
And I know you're not going to tell me any names, but what type of player, well, you can if you want, but what type of player in terms of age and profile are we looking for?
Well, listen, Chris, if you look at the acquisitions we've made over the last couple of years, there's a consistency in terms of the type of player that we have targeted, the age and quality. So we will continue down that road. In that, for the first team, in that 20 to 25-year-old category, that's kind of the spot that we like. But at the same time, the reason why I don't like to box myself with this answer, because sometimes opportunities come up that fit within what the manager wants and with what we need for the squad that might be out of that box. So nothing is set in stone. We have clearly a set of targets that are well defined. But at the same time, we're pragmatic enough to take the opportunity if that opportunity comes up. And
this is the bit, I think, of the interview where the fans are probably looking forward to the most, is the result from the UEFA charge and the CAS appeal. It's obviously the big question, Chairman, the UEFA finding and the subsequent CAS appeal. How do you feel now it's over successfully? And what's your general take on the whole situation now it's over?
Well, Chris, we've talked about this last year, and I've always been relaxed about it because I'm confident in obviously what we've done, and I'm confident that in a good process and a fair process, the truth will prevail. But what I was most concerned about was that the distraction that this was putting upon all of us and the team specifically. Because at the end of the day, all I really care about is going back to what we do best, which is playing football. That's the focus. It's about playing football. It's about running our business. It's about pushing forward and really having that focused approach on that and not having any distractions. And that's really the most important thing that I'm happy with right now is we can keep the distraction now behind us and go back to focusing on what we do best.
Even so, though, have you been disappointed by the reaction, I guess, to the verdict from certain people? I'm not going to name them, and I know you're not going to do, but people listening to this interview will make their own minds up. I mean, there's certainly been some whispering going on in some quarters, and in others, some rather louder criticism. So what's your response to that?
I'm not surprised, Chris. I think football has taught me a lot. One of the most important things I've learned is never to be surprised. In terms of the whispering and the, I think one thing I've never done is talk about other clubs' business. It's not for me, and it's not for this club. We're bigger than this, and we just won't do it. And I won't do it. They can say whatever they want to say. I'm going to focus about talking about our business. At the end of the day, I understand, there's people that don't like us. There's clubs that don't like us. I understand it's a competition. Sports are very competitive. And I think what that team has done and what this organization has done is disrupt football and the way it was both played and conducted from a business perspective over the last 12 years. We've disrupted that. And always when you do such a disruption, you're going to have a lot of people that don't agree with it. And I understand, that's the nature of the beast. It won't change the way we run things. We're just going to keep looking forward. His Highness Sheikh Mansour is a very sensible, forward-looking individual. And I think his leadership with this and his clarity in terms of guidance to me over the years has helped me, take the approach and the let's say the relaxed mode that you see me in right now, because that's when you are comfortable in what you think and what you feel and where you're going, it helps you. It helps you have that clarity.
In that sense, what are the hopes for future relations between City and UEFA? Are they damaged, or is it now gone, finished, done, and a new era?
Chris, life is too short to carry grudges. It is an important competition. It is one of the most prestigious competition in the world of sports. And it's a competition we want to win. And it's a competition we have to respect in order for us to win it. This was a challenge. It's behind us. End of story as far as I'm concerned. I'm now just focused on how to help this club compete in this competition and win it, and how to have a constructive relationship with UEFA. I think that's the only way to go.
If we can just leave football on the pitch for a while and turn to something you mentioned earlier, the pandemic, COVID, which has hit your country badly, hit our country badly, hit the whole world badly. How do you think Manchester City have coped with it, and how proud of you were you of the response of the club to the crisis? I don't mean in terms just of getting football up and running again, but also in terms of helping authorities and local communities.
Very proud. I think from donating the Etihad Stadium to the health services in Manchester, which to this day continues to be used by them, and that part, we put it with immense pride. Everybody involved with the club, everyone pitched in, from donating to the food bank, the commitments of our players, our young lads in the academy writing letters to some of the people that have been affected by the pandemic. I'm very, very proud of everyone at the club, everyone at the group in Manchester, in New York, in China, from east to west, our operations all over the world, Australia. We've worked as a team. We worked closely with the community, each respective community that we are part of. I think we delivered what we can, and that's going to continue to be the case. This COVID has not ended. It will continue to be a challenge, and we will continue to do right by everyone, to our people, our fans, our players, our employees everywhere, and all the stakeholders that we work with.
Have any projects been put on hold because of the pandemic or during the pandemic? That I'm thinking now of pressing on with the development around the Etihad and the surrounding areas. Have projects been put on hold, or have they been killed forever, or how are those progressing?
So the word here is, I think, pragmatism and sensibility. Some of the projects obviously continue, and as a matter of fact, we see the sense of expediting them. Other projects, because of, again, the challenges that come with COVID, we've had to put on pause. The expansion of the stadium, some of the changes that we wanted to do in the hospitality, we're going to have to figure out as it goes what's going to be that experience post-COVID in the stadium, and what's going to work and what's not going to work. One thing is clear, is that we can't think in the same way. We have to adjust, and we have to accept that what COVID has done will have an impact on the future, and that we have to be ready to adjust to that. We've made an investment as an example in a team in Belgium, Lomo, which again falls within our strategy, but we expedited it because the opportunity was there. We're looking at maybe making another move in the French second division. So we're not going to shy away when the opportunity arises, but we're also going to be pragmatic and sensible when it comes to the overall investments.
On a wider level, do you think football per se will be changed by the financial impacts caused by the worldwide lockdowns? And I'm thinking there of, will some clubs go to the wall? Will leagues have to be reorganised? How do you think it will impact football as a whole?
The challenge is very big for football. That is clear. And I think over the next 12 to 24 months, as football recovers from COVID, you will see changes. Now, the magnitude of these changes, I think, really depends on many different things. But I believe, particularly with the realities that COVID is putting in terms of impact on revenue, impact on sponsors, impact on obviously audience at the stadium and the revenues from the stadium and hospitality. These are different from team to team and from league to league. So it's not consistent in terms of the level of the impact, but the impact is there. The impact is going to be very challenging.
You said goodbye to one legend this summer in David Silva, and another one, as of now, is set to go in 10 months' time. Has there or will there be any talks to persuade Sergio Aguero to stay? Can you talk about that?
Chris, we've been very lucky, and I think it's a testament to the type of players we've had over the years. To have players like David Silva, like Vincent Kompany, like Pablo Zabaleta, like Sergio Aguero, that have committed and stuck with the team for many, many years. I think this is a testament to these players, their personalities, their commitment to Manchester, their commitment to the club, and I think the relationship that we were able to build between the club and these players, between the managers, and obviously that whole ecosystem. To have a player like David Silva essentially commit 10 years of his life to this club, to have a player like Sergio Aguero again do the same. I'm very proud of that because this is what tells me we have it right. They are part of the DNA of the club now, and the decision of them continuing or stopping, this is really, it's the comfort zone that they have to decide. What's in the same way with Vincent, he left when he felt it was right for him to leave, and the same thing with David Silva. Sergio is going to be the same, and we're going to work it out together, and it will be very natural wherever that is, be it next year or the year after. It will play out in a comfortable way, whatever Sergio decides.
And I guess I'm going to get a similar answer to this one because it's a similar question. Pep himself only has 10 months left on his contract as of now. Is this going to be his last season, or do you think his contract will be extended also?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you're right in asking the question. It's a very relevant question, but it's really a very similar answer I'm going to give. This conversation with Pep is a natural conversation. Me and him have a very clear understanding. We have a clear understanding on what's right for the club and what's not. We have a clear alignment in terms of where we see the future and what we want in terms of success for the club. And I think, again, it's going to be a comfortable conversation as we go, and it will work out in the best way for Pep, for me, and for the club. That I'm very comfortable about.
So there's no specific talks taking place or specific talks planned as of now. It will just be a conversation over the coming weeks and months. Is that a good summation?
Everything will work out naturally and in the right way, and I think we have the right people involved. We have the right trust in each other, and what's best will happen.
The women's team have also had a busy time of it in the transfer market just recently, and a big shift. There seems to have been a concerted effort to elevate the women's team here in Manchester to a new level this season. 2 USA World Cup winners have arrived. Gareth Taylor has become the new manager, and as we understand it, other high-profile stars are on the way. What was the thinking behind all this?
Well, Chris, we've been committed from the beginning to the women's game. I have a very strong view about how this game is going to evolve and how in the years to come, the women's game is going to continue to grow and turn into a very important part of football. So our commitment is consistent. The team we've built over the years has done very well. Finishing second again is not our target, but it shows you a consistency over the last 4 years in terms of how we were able to continue to put a very strong group of players, a very competitive team with a great manager. And now, we have a transition. Gareth comes in, Nick moves on to New York, and I think again it's a great thing for me to see how we can continue to show progress within the group, from Gareth coming from the academy, taking on the head coaching role, to Nick moving from the women's team into assistant coach in New York, the men's team. This group that we have provides incredible opportunity for development and growth to our coaching staff, to our players, to our individuals, and that's phenomenal. The women's game was going in the right direction. I think COVID is going to put a lot of pressure on it. I remain very hopeful that the game is going to be able to withstand the challenges of COVID, recover and come back. And I hope that within the Premier League and within the teams in the UK, more clubs give a commitment to the game, because the more commitment that comes in, the more competitive it's going to be and the more sustainable it's going to be. We're going to be there. Manchester City is going to be there, all our clubs around the world, because we have a belief in the women's game, and we will be committed throughout, and we will be supportive, and we will help these leagues, and hopefully it will grow.
And in terms, just finally, you touched upon this, the club in Belgium, one in France may be coming. How pleased are you with the way CFG is working, how the model works?
I'm very pleased. When Silver Lake came in, a world-class institutional investor, took a view on our business model, took a view on the way we run things, and invested a lot of money to join our shareholding base. I think that's a huge validation to the strategy that we've been undertaking and the execution and success of that strategy. Now, since then, we've added obviously Mumbai City. Lommel in Belgium becomes the 9th club in the group. And as I said, we're going to have hopefully soon another club in the group. The model works. The strategy is well proven. And I think for us as a group, it's no longer a question of validation or a question of is this the right? I think now we've proven it works. We've proven that it's successful and beneficial, and beneficial from a footballing sense, from a sporting sense, but also from a commercial and revenue sense. I think many people are now starting to follow that path and emulate it, and I think that's the biggest compliment to us. But in short, I am confident, and I'm very pleased with the way the evolution has happened.
And it's not just in the boardroom that it's successful, on the pitch too, which is very important to you, I know.
Absolutely. It goes hand in hand, Chris. The business we're in, it's about both. And you look at what we've been able to accomplish, as an example, with Yokohama Marinos in Japan. I mean, Yokohama won the league for the first time in more than 15 years. An incredible accomplishment. They did it in a very effective way. I think we had in that case in Yokohama, I think the 9th or 10th wage bill in the league. So to have that and win the league in itself, I think is a confirmation of the model and our success in it, and that global model that we have in terms of the clubs all around the world. In Melbourne, we just finished the highest position we've ever had, 2nd in the league, and we're entering the playoffs. We're playing a semi-final very shortly, and hopefully we'll go from strength to strength there. Girona is in the 2nd division. We've made it to the playoffs. And then even in Torque, in the Uruguay, we're investing in our next CFA there. Montevideo City is now being developed, and it's working. The model works, and there's success both on and off the pitch.
Always a pleasure to hear from the chairman, Khaldoon Al Mubarak. He's always so measured and thoughtful, isn't he, when he speaks? He just makes me feel positive about the future, and I think there's plenty of good things to come this season. Thank you so much to Khaldoon for his time, and thank you to Chris Bailey as well for asking such interesting questions. If you enjoyed that, make sure you subscribe to the Man City podcast wherever it is you do your listening, and until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.